The psychology of the solopreneur. Why 9-to-5s are breaking our brains. Imagine waking up on a Sunday evening. That heavy, sinking feeling in your gut isn't just disliking your job, it is a biological rejection. Your brain is reacting to a lack of agency. For decades, we were told that a 9-to-5 salary was the price of security. But in the modern world, that security comes with a psychological tax: the loss of autonomy. Today, we aren't just talking about business, we're talking about neuroemancipation. We are exploring why the solopreneur path is becoming the ultimate mental health hack, the neuroscience of being your own boss, and the hidden psychological traps that could ruin you if you aren't careful. The 40-hour workweek wasn't designed for your brain. It was designed for a factory floor in 1926. But in 2026, we're seeing a massive psychological shift. Millions of people are choosing the solopreneur path. It's not just about the money, it's about autonomy. Today, we're looking at the neuroscience of why being your own boss changes your brain chemistry and why the corporate identity is officially dying. The why, psychological concepts. 1. Self-determination theory, SDT. Explain that humans have 3 innate needs: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. The problem: corporate roles often strip away autonomy, the power to choose. The solopreneur solution. When you choose your tasks, your brain releases more dopamine during the process, not just at the end. 1. The neurochemistry of autonomy. The concept: self-determination theory, SDT. In the 1970s, psychologists Edward Desai and Richard Ryan identified 3 innate human needs: competence, relatedness, and autonomy. In a traditional corporate hierarchy, autonomy is the first thing to go. When you are told exactly when to arrive, how to dress, and which software to use, your brain enters compliance mode. Biologically, this stunts the ventral striatum, the area of your brain responsible for motivation and reward. When you switch to solopreneurship, you reclaim your executive function. Because you are the one making the choices, your brain releases higher levels of dopamine during the work process itself, not just when the paycheck arrives. You aren't just working harder, you're working with a brain that is chemically rewarded for its own agency. 2. The locus of control and mental resilience. The concept: internal versus external locus of control. One of the leading causes of workplace depression is learned helplessness. This happens when you feel that no matter how hard you work, your outcome is determined by external factors: a bad boss, a company layoff, or a shifting economy. This is an external locus of control. Solopreneurs, by necessity, develop an internal locus of control. They believe that their success and their failure is a direct result of their own actions. While this sounds stressful, it is actually a massive buffer against clinical anxiety. The brain prefers predictable stress, which you control, over unpredictable safety, which someone else controls. When you own the results, your nervous system remains in a state of eustress, positive stress, rather than distress. Three, the flow state versus cognitive fragmentation. The concept: the cognitive switching penalty. The modern office is a minefield of micro-interruptions. Research from the American Psychological Association shows that even a brief interruption can cost you 40% of your productive time as your brain struggles to reload the previous task. Solopreneurs have an unfair advantage here: environment design. Without the Slack pings or the quick sync meetings, you can enter a flow state. This is a neurological window where your prefrontal cortex, your inner critic, goes quiet and your brain's processing speed increases. In a flow state, you aren't just faster, you are more creative. Solopreneurship allows you to optimize for deep work sessions that are physically impossible in a cubicle. 4. The shadow side, identity fusion and isolation. The concept, identity fusion. We have to talk about the danger. When you are the CEO, the face, and the product, a psychological phenomenon called identity fusion occurs. You stop being Alex the person and start being Alex the brand. If your business has a slow month, your brain interprets it as a personal failure. This can lead to a social oxygen deficit. In a 9-to-5, you have forced oxytocin hits from chatting with coworkers. As a solopreneur, you have to manually schedule your social life. If you don't, you risk solo isolation, which increases cortisol levels and mimics the physical effects of chronic pain. The key is building a mastermind or a digital community to replace the water cooler. Five, decision architecture, how to stay sane. The concept, decision fatigue. The biggest threat to a new solopreneur isn't lack of money, it's decision fatigue. Your brain has a finite amount of mental energy per day. In a job, 70% of your decisions are made for you. As a solopreneur, you have to decide everything, from your logo color to your tax strategy. To survive, you must use decision architecture. This means automating the small stuff so you can save your brain power for the big stuff. Successful solopreneurs use the rule of 3. Only 3 major tasks per day. Anything more causes the brain to enter analysis paralysis, leading to the very burnout you were trying to escape in the first place. The shift to solopreneurship isn't just an economic trend, it's a psychological revolution. It is about moving from being a passenger in your own career to being the pilot. It requires more discipline, yes, but the reward is a brain that is finally aligned with its evolutionary need for autonomy. If you're feeling the pull to go solo, ask yourself, is it the work you hate, or is it the lack of control? For a deeper dive into how to manage your focus, I highly recommend checking out Deep Work by Cal Newport. If this helped you understand your own Sunday scaries a bit better, hit that subscribe button. Let's build a life that actually makes sense for our brains.